obviously that's a love song. And, you may think that that's a love song intended from one person to another person, and it is. That's how it was written. But when I heard that song, what I thought about was the allness, that which is all of us. All of me giving to all of me. All of life, all of that which is God giving to me. So I'm in day 7 of CPR. And today in day 7, we talked about the idea that the I am God phenomenon that is really sweeping the metaphysical world, I am God. But for me, the whole concept of I am God has to be logical. And you all know me with that. It has to make sense. Yes, Jesus said it is done unto you as you believe, but you only believe things that are logical to you. You can entertain certain thoughts, but just entertaining them does not make them activate in your life. You must believe them in order for them to be done unto you. So you can walk around saying, I am God, and also be saying, I am lack at the same time. What is the universe really believing? Probably I am lack, because the experiential of that is making more sense to you than the I am God, because the I am lack is saying to you, really? Do you have anybody else have that happening? Where that side of you is saying, really? You think you're God? Well, here's the thing. Here's the logic for me. God is all there is. Now, I learned that in Catholic school with the Baltimore Catechism. Anybody else? Baltimore Catechism, Catholic school? Yeah. God is all there is. God is all there is. Where is God? God is everywhere. I remember sitting on my mother's couch and her saying, where is God? And me saying, God is everywhere. Good answer. Thank you. And I memorized it all. I mean, I was a really good little Catholic boy. You could see me walking down the street with my missal, the rosary hanging over it. I was into the image of how I looked. And I'd be walking around going, good morning, Mr. Evans. On my way to church. But, can't you just see it? I'm going to post pictures on Facebook later. But the thing is, I didn't believe it. I memorized it. I knew it. I passed my tests. Did great. But I didn't believe it. Why? Because it wasn't logical to me. So, now it's logical to me. Now when I say I am God, I am not edging out anything. Ego, edging God out. I don't edge God out. I entertain God only. Ego, my better understanding of ego. Because I am the presence that there is in the universe. And if it's all God, and if the Catholic school taught me that God is everywhere, well, I'm part of everywhere. Am I outside of everywhere? No. If God is everywhere, and God is all there is, logically speaking, I must be God. Does that not just make sense? Yeah. It does. And the truth is, most people do know that. They do know that intellectually. But to step into I am God, that requires really living that truth on purpose. Really living this understanding. I am God. And so is Rachel. And so is Michelle. And so is every other person on the planet. So is Reverend Doctor. You just became a doctor. Mark Anthony Lord. Every single one of us is God. So that just makes logical sense to me. Now I've got my power. So if all of me loves all of you, and together we love every single thing, because guess what? God is all of you. Everything you are is God. Not every good thing you are is God. Everything you are is God. God is experiential. So Kevin, who's up in our booth, like running all the cameras today, Kevin, he said to me, I said something like that to him earlier. I said, well, it's all God, no matter what. He goes, I know. And did you ever notice God does this? And I went, yes, I get it. God does this because I do this. Whatever I do, God is doing through me. But God gave me choice. I get to choose how I want to live, God. I get to choose the experience of God. I get to choose on what level do I want to play this game called life. Do I want to be more spiritual, or do I want to be more reactive to what's going on around me? Do I understand that I am more powerful than any condition that could show up in my life? Do I know that my reaction to something creates the next chain event to the next event in my life? Do I know I am God to the extent that it stops here in my experience of life? You can't experience life, in my head. You cannot experience my experience of life. Even if you think you are empathizing, one of my favorite words, empathizing with my life, you're not. You are empathizing with that in you that has a belief that seems to match mine, but you still don't know, because you don't know what I'm experiencing in life. And that's a good thing, because this infinite nature of God is so unilaterally possible for every single one of us to experience at the highest level. So I was looking, I get Mark Anthony Lord's old church, Bodhi Center, I get their emails every week of what they're going to talk about and what they're doing that Sunday. And they had a quote on there from Bishop Carlton Pearson. And I have to read it because it was so perfect for us today. And it says this: "The first step to making your dream come true is to wake up." We did that last year. Right? That was our theme last year. I am awake. So, are you all awake? Yeah. Okay, I love this. Now, the second step is to get up. Get it? Okay, I'm awake. If you stay in bed, you're not stepping into the day. So, wake up, get up, and then, I love this, and the third step is to never give up. Wake up, get up, never give up. I love that. So, the title of my talk today is Light It Up. Light it up. And up is U period, P period, unlimited potential. Light that unlimited potential up. So this year, coming clean in 2015, I have a question for you today. When I give a theme for a year like I am awake last year, I didn't have any luxury of going back to sleep. I wouldn't, because I said I'm going to be awake this year, so I couldn't go back to sleep and pretend I wasn't seeing what I was seeing. So this year, coming clean in 2015, it's just the next logical step to let it all out. Turn the lights on. See it all. Don't be afraid to see it all. So I want to ask you, what do you need to shed light on this year? What has been hanging out in the shadows of your mind? What has been hanging out in your life that you haven't really taken a look at? What do you need to shed light on? And that brings me back to I Am God, because the truth is, I think we don't look at our stuff because we don't think we're powerful enough to look at our stuff. Because we think our stuff is bigger than we are. Because we think conditions are more powerful than the mind that created them in the first place. So, today is a call to action for all of us. What do we need to shed some light on? And my call to action to you is a call to be fearless. Bring it all up. What do you do that annoys even you? Think about it. Do you all have those things that even annoy you when you do them? My husband points them out to me every day. And I bring it up that it annoys even you because he said to me recently in a discussion, he said, James, this has to annoy you as well. It's like, and I have to say, it did. It really did. I was like, Kevin, yes, it really does. That does annoy me about me. I said, what would you like me to do about it? He said, get rid of it. And you know what? I am working on that. I really am. In that moment, I went, you're right. You are absolutely right. And he asked me to record that. He did. He was like, could you record those two words coming out of your mouth? You're right. And could you add Kevin at the end of it? So nobody can say it must have been someone else. Couldn't have been me. He is right. So what niggly little thing about you, and if you don't know, ask someone who loves you. They will tell you what you might want to shed some light on. Now, the next big part of this is, once you turn the lights on, kind of it's all there, you can't really hide from it, once you turn your lights on. And you do have to be fearless. But the bigger part of this is, are you willing to remember who's looking? Because that's the big deal. You know, you can turn the lights on and see some pretty horrendous things. And if you think the person looking is the person who is subject to that thing, and even though it's true, you created it, and you feel bad about yourself for creating it, and you feel weak and like I can't do anything about this, then you don't know who you are. you don't know who's looking at it. The reason why we can shed light on all of our lives is because guess what? It's all God. Every single thing in your life, and I love that Ellen talked about the mistakes that we make. I've made mistakes, very few, but no, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I have. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. But you know what? Those mistakes don't define me. He's right. Who said he's right? You said it, Cece? Was that after I said I've made a lot of mistakes in my life? But they don't define us. They should not define us. And here's the other part of mistakes. Mistakes happen because you've used your mind in a certain way, and that mistake is part of your journey, no matter what. Now, that doesn't mean I'm now saying I attract more mistakes into my life. Because guess what? I like what Ernest Holmes said when he said, we have learned everything we need to learn from suffering. And there is a beautiful book up in the bookstore called Thou Shalt Not Suffer by Mark Anthony Lord. You should all get it and read it. We have nothing more to learn from suffering. We really have nothing more to learn from mistakes. I don't court mistakes into my life, but if I identify one, then what do I need to know? Obviously, I created this. Why? What's there to know here? That's shedding light on it. That's being fearless. That's coming clean in 2015. We waste so much energy trying to deflect the things we think we've done wrong, trying to make up for them, trying to pretend they didn't happen. When Ernest Holmes says turn away from the condition, he doesn't say turn away from the condition until you go into treatment. The line is turn entirely away from the condition in treatment, not in life. We're not trying to teach everybody to be ostriches. You know, that never happened. Never happened. Yes, it did. And guess what? It's going to continue to happen while you keep pretending it's not happening. It's just going to keep following you around. There it is. That's why they call it a shadow. It will not leave you. But when you turn on the light, your shadow is there behind you. It's part of you. It's fine. Yesterday was Dr. Jim Lockhart's retirement party from Simi Valley. Brilliant, brilliant mind, Jim Lockhart. And yes. And he got up to speak at the end of the night, and he talked about the shadow, and he talked about all the things that we try to relegate to some other part of our brain, when all we really need to do is turn the light on. I was like, this is exactly what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. Turn the light on and embrace it. That's a part of me. When all of you loves all of me, and the all of you is the truth, because the all of you is God, is the energy of God, the love of God. That's the all of you. You are all of that. You're not just a wave in the ocean. You are the ocean itself. Rumi says this. You are not just a pebble of sand on the beach of life. You are the entire beach. And when you get quiet and step into a contemplative or meditative state, you actually start feeling that and knowing that, don't you? You can feel it. That's why we love looking at the ocean. We love to, I do, sit and watch the ocean because I relate to it. I get it. That's what I am. That's who I am. So, I have a little story for you from this week. Another story, not about the dog. I got my car done a couple months ago about the oil. It said, your oil's out. Get that little thing, the danger, Will Robinson, your car's about to explode. And so I took it in, and I had them put oil in, and it was fine. And I didn't notice until about a week later that the light never went out that said, oil, service the car. It still said it. And I just didn't have the time to go in and fix it. And so finally, the other day, I'm leaving the bank, and I was passing right by the gas station. I was like, you know what? Since that little thing Kevin was talking about is called procrastination, I should maybe step in and take care of this. So I did. I pulled in, and I asked him, why was this still on? And 3 mechanics came out, and they're looking, and they're trying to fix it. And then this one mechanic comes over, and he says to me, you know you have a nail in your tire? And I said, I do? And I go back, and there's this huge nail in my tire. And I was just about to take the 405, and I'd go fast on the 405. Speed limit, but fast. And he said, you got to take care of this. He said, if you hit anything and that nail hits it, your car, the tire will explode, and you will it's not good. And I was like, okay, Let's fix that. And I thought to myself, in argument for myself and procrastination in general, I thought, everything unfolds perfectly in my life. Had he fixed that little thing that said your oil's still out, I would not have bothered to go in and fix it 5 weeks later when I had a nail in my tire, at which point he also said, oh my God, now it's really making sense to me. I may cry. He also said, and while I'm at it, the brake pads on your brakes are practically touching. He said, I don't know how your car is stopping. And I said, well, it does. It stops. He said, you need to get them fixed. I can do it all at once. I said, oh, go do it. Imagine if those pads had not been replaced 2 days ago, this morning, as I was driving. Probably if I'd have put the brakes on, the car, I wouldn't have even had a chance to swerve. It wouldn't have even stopped. Although my car was stopping. But with the water and all, and he said, it's going to rain, you got to get this fixed. Life unfolds perfectly at all times. And here's what I know about my life. I am always protected. I am. You watch today when I get on that skateboard. I will be protected. I will. And so are you. You are protected. There is something in you. So, my life is unfolding perfectly. Now, in 2015, is the time for you to shed some light on everything. So I want you to ask yourself right now. Everybody take a deep breath. Now just ask yourself for yourself. Are you willing to look at your life and every component in it and turn the light on? Shed light on it. Every relationship, your job, your work, your finances, your health. Is there anything that you are literally turning a blind eye to? If you're willing to take this journey with me this year and really truly come clean in 2015, I guarantee you that you will have what is necessary to deal with whatever shows up and eradicate what needs to go and embrace what needs to be expanded. Why? Because I know who you are. How are you going to see all of this information and allow yourself to really understand it? One, you're going to do it impersonally. That means you don't look at it as yours personally. You just look at it as what it is, which is the facts. Just the facts, ma'am. The facts, the conditions. You are not the facts. You are the person that created them. You are not your conditions. You are the creator. You're not even your beliefs. You are the believer. So you're going to look at it impersonally. You're going to look at it from a place of truth and know the spiritual logic. Spiritual logic of lack is plenty. Spiritual logic of disease is health. The spiritual logic of relationships that are having trouble is perfect peace of mind. There's a truth for every condition. To the degree that we're willing to step over to the truth, turn the lights on, look at it impersonally, know the truth about it, that's what we do here. It goes away. And then lastly, knowing that you are bigger than anything. Today on CPR, I said it was time for us to be spiritually relentless. Just think about that term. Spiritually relentless. Meaning, I will be relentless. No matter what shows up, I will know the truth. First. And if you can't know it first, at least know it second. But try to know it first, as soon as it shows up. Coming clean in 2015, I understand, is a very vulnerable place to be. I get that. But in that vulnerability comes authenticity. And in that authenticity, truth is revealed. And in that truth is the power that you are. Not the power you get to use, the power that you are. So give it some thought today. Be willing to shed some light on the truth of who you are. Because who you are is the same person I am. And I am God. Namaste.